Gentleman from California, Mr. Garamendi, is recognized for half the remaining time until 10 p.m. on the minority leader.
Mr. Speaker, 2 weeks ago on this floor, the Democrats said, we want to vote. We want to vote on a bill that would prohibit terrorists who are on the no-fly list from being able to buy a gun and explosives, and we want to vote on comprehensive background checks. And so we sat down and created a bit of confusion and maybe even some anger. I'm pleased that the Speaker has decided that maybe there will be some piece of legislation, H.R. 5611. Unfortunately, it doesn't even come close to solving the problem and probably makes it worse. It's written in such a way that it is virtually unenforceable, will guarantee that terrorists will be given a heads up that they're being looked at and investigated by the FBI, and it puts the courts in an impossible situation where they have to find probable cause that there's a terrorist out there that's done something bad or likely to do something bad, in which case, just go arrest them. You don't need to do more than that. You've already got probable cause. Arrest them. The bill is a non-starter. And so we're not going to go away. We're going to stay at this until we have decent legislation. There's two pieces, a bill by Mr. King, Republican, and a bill and the same co-authored by Mr. Thompson of California that would expand the background checks, which is absolutely essential, and also one that provides for no fly, no buy. We'd like to have those on the vote, on the bill. Put them on the floor, Mr. Speaker. You can do this. Put your bill on the floor, put our two bills on the floor, and let us, the 435 representatives, speak to this issue. I'd like now to yield my time to the minority leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garamendi. Representative Garamendi, thank you for your consistent, persistent leadership in these special orders to put forth issues of concern to the American people. Right now, we're talking about saving lives. We're talking about responsible background checks on gun purchases, as well as no fly, no buy. If you're on the terrorist list, you can't fly, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun. What's so difficult about that for our Republican majority to understand? Actually, on the background check legislation, we're talking about expanding the background check bill that already exists to include Internet sales, something relatively new, not new compared to when we passed the bill in the middle 90s, and we're talking about gun shows. This would save lives to have background checks on everyone who is there to purchase a gun. In the 80s, 85% of the American people support a background check, responsible legislation for background checks, which is what we are proposing, and 90% support no fly, no buy. The only place where there's an obstacle to this reasonable, common sense legislation is on the floor of the House of Representatives. I am so proud of our members led by John Lewis 2 weeks ago, tomorrow, who led the sit-in on the floor of the House. It was remarkable, and it generated interest throughout the world, over 2 billion impressions from what went out from the floor of this House, something remarkable, something appropriate for the people's house. And then following that, for this to go on for 25 hours and then to continue over the weeks when we were in recess into our districts to have the beat go on. And now we're back, and the beat will continue to go on. And I think if there's one message of hope that John Lewis gave all of us, is that we're not going away until the job is done. So respectfully, I ask our Speaker of the House to give us a vote, to enable us to show the support that common sense, sensible gun legislation, gun safety legislation has in this House. I believe that if given the opportunity, this House would support that legislation. Maybe that's why it will not be brought up. But I will also associate myself with the concerns expressed by Mr. Garamendi about a bill, the Cornyn bill. I think it has a new name in the House. It is the gun lobby bill, the gun lobby bill, the NRA bill. It is not a gun safety bill. It is an excuse for not doing something really effective and sensible. So you will be seeing on the stories of the people and the families affected, the most eloquent stories of all, their stories of their loss, and they're channeling their grief to make sure it doesn't happen to other families. What a beautiful sense of community. We thank John Lewis for being the unifier in all of that, and we thank all of our members for their participation, and I thank you, Mr. Garamendi, and yield back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Leader. Delighted to have your leadership on this issue. It's profoundly important. I understand tomorrow at 10 o'clock, 91 people will be outside together with many members of our caucus to demonstrate that each day 91 people are killed by guns here in the United States. And so we have work to do. Very simple. All we're asking for is a vote on a no-fly, no-buy bill that actually works, not the Cornyn bill, not the Republican bill, but one that actually works, put together by Mr. King and Mr. Thompson, and also a bill that deals with expanding the background check. Put them on the floor, Mr. Speaker, and one more, I promise, Mr. Speaker, we're not going to go away until the American public has these safe gun measures written into law. With that, I yield back.